Friends, hoping that all of you are doing good. Let us go back to the world of container handlers. Today, we will be going through restackers which are used to handle containers in ports or small terminals. I recommend you to watch my previous videos, parts 17 and 18, for better understanding of this subject. There are so many options for handling containers. However, a restacker is very efficient and fast option for containers. Some people compare a restacker with forklift, but there are many differences. The forklifts are used for the most frequent loading and unloading, and they don't offer the same capacity as restacker. Here the construction of the machine is totally different from a forklift and also an empty container handler. The restacker has got a higher lifting capacity compared to a container handler. Normally a typical restacker has 45 tons capacity and it can lift 5 containers high. As we have seen last week, an empty container handler has a vertical mast and it can stack containers in a single row. In case of restackers, they have long booms which can stack containers in second and third rows. If you look at the stability of both the machines, a restacker provides better stability. This is because the weight distribution between the two machines are quite different. Since the weight distribution is different, the ground pressure, travel speed and stability are also different. Now, let us see what mainly contribute the weight distribution and stability. You see, in case of an empty container handler, the mast is an additional weight in front of the unit. When I say front of the unit, I mean beyond the drive axle. This means you need higher counterweight for keeping the machine stable. If you look at the restacker, the boom is behind the drive axle and so you get a better stability in this case. Due to this stability factor, you get a higher travel speed. Normally, we say a restacker is efficient when it is user-friendly with sufficient lifting capacity and also lifting speed. The capacity ranges from 35 ton to 60 ton. The boom length varies from say 4 meters to 25 meters, 4 meters to 15 meters. And the speed ranges from 18 to 25 kilometers. So we can say that a restacker has an additional outreach. They have got front stabilizers for better stability of the machine while handling second or third rows. So restackers can be used for extended reach applications. As you know, restackers can access a second row with a full container and handle lightweight containers in the third row. By using a restacker, you can comfortably move a single container around the work site. You can also transfer between locations on the ground, stacking them high and deep, or various transport modes such as trucks or rail wagons. For using a restacker, you don't need an assistance of personnel on ground. The machine is automated and the operator can control the machine sitting in his cabin. As I mentioned last week, the spreader can be fully automatic, semi-automatic or manual depending upon how they are operator. The spreaders have side shifting and rotational features. These features work much better in restackers when you compare with an empty container handler. The operator has a joystick control for making side shifting, rotation, spreader extensions, locking and unlocking features. The operator has a control panel where he gets weight indication and also data collection. There are also telescopic spreaders which can handle 20 feet or 40 feet containers. There is also an accessory called piggyback. It means there are 4 arms mounted on the spreader, and you can raise a trailer with the container and put it on a tray. Restackers are best suited for medium-sized seaports and small container terminals. You don't have to approach a container at 90 degrees because the spreader can be rotated. Each stacker, restackers have low profile, so it can pass through low doorways. If you take the case of an empty container handler, you need higher doorways, and if there are any electric cables, you can't use them. In case of a restacker, you can lift the container at height and travel because of its better stability. If you look at an empty container handler, you need to lower the container so that the driver can see the bottom of the container at his eye level. If you look at the commercial side, restackers are expensive than an empty container handler. Restackers have more operational parts such as boom, hydraulic motor, gear mechanism to rotate. You need to spend for proper maintenance. Anyway, if you compare with gantry cranes and straddle carriers, restackers are cheaper and better alternatives. This is because it can operate in narrow spaces and also ensure better visibility to the operator. How can you decide out of the two options which one will work the best for your operation? Between a restacker and empty container handler. You see, both the machines offer several benefits. If you use a restacker, you can stack high and deep, and your storage efficiency will be increased. At the same time, you will be increasing the storage density, and therefore it affects the selectivity. If you have listened to my talk last week, I have explained selectivity and restacking, and so I don't repeat it. Once the restacking operations increases, you will be doing extra job. The load center increases as we move on to second or third rows. Then the residual capacity of the stacker decreases. The residual capacity has a significant role in loading, and which I have already explained in my previous talks, so I think it's understandable. You need to ensure that you have a restacker with sufficient capacity and load center at second and third rows. In a 45-ton restacker, which is standard, you can have stacking on 5 heights on the first row, 5 on the second row, and 4 on the third row in case of standard containers, 8-6. In case of high cube containers, you can have 5, 4, and 3 respectively on first, second, and third rows. That's the case of 9/6 containers. If you look at the aisle widths, both the machines can operate almost in the same aisle widths. In case you need to lift higher loads in the second or third rows, you need a higher capacity machine, and naturally that will increase your aisle widths. For more information on aisle widths, please go through my previous videos. In restackers, there are 4 wheels at front and 2 wheels on rear. In most restackers, the wheelbase is kept minimum in order to reduce the turning radius. Once you reduce the turning radius, you get higher maneuverability. So it is important to identify the application and consider which machine can add benefit to the operation. This is an area where I can help you on your decision-making process. I hope that you have enjoyed this video, and please share with me your thoughts. God willing, we will be meeting soon with the next part. Until then, goodbye.